up, family? Guys, welcome back to Podkrew. It's your host, OneKolony, with your favorite other hosts, Venus, Cholo. How you guys doing? Happy
Hey guys.
happy Thursday. How was your
Happy
guys'
Thursday.
week? I missed you. I haven't seen you in a week. I saw you yesterday. I haven't seen you in a week. How you guys doing?
Yeah, you were my date for Valentine's Day.
I was. And you weren't there because you rejected our
No.
invite.
Well, I had my own thing going on. I was fun doing it up. Okay. I was fun doing it.
Fun what?
I was fun doing it.
What's
It's
that?
fun doing it.
What's fun
I
doing?
was doing fondue. Come on.
What is that?
It's where you take the little food and you stab it with the fork and then you dip it in the cheese. That's what that is.
Oh,
You know what fondue is?
no, I have no idea what that is. My bad.
Did you say dip it in the chi?
The
Like
cheese.
like your
Cheese.
own chi?
Wait,
Your own
wait, you said cheese or cheese?
I said cheese, but I
Stop.
like cheese
You're
better.
distracting me. Okay. We're not here to talk about food today, guys. So,
Not yet.
today's topic, all right, listen up. Underdog video games. All the video games lover. I think you already know what's coming up, right? But we got some big titles that been hitting the market that we cannot ignore. And you already know Colony doesn't go first. So we're gonna lead it off with Z. You were a big bully to me on Valentine's Day, so you can go first.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say I was a bully. I was definitely beating something up, but we'll talk about that later. Anyways, so
Oh my.
talking about Lethal Company.
That's a
So-
very great start, actually. Oh my god, I'm so happy that you picked that. I'm very happy that you picked that.
that game just took us all by storm. That game came out in November, and we were all just like, "Whoa!" Like, actually, I was not. I saw it for a little bit, and then our buddy Mike ended up like messaging us in the group chat and was just like, "Hey, you guys should check out this game. It looks pretty cool." And then I saw everyone else get it right away. I was like, you know what? Why not? It's cheap. Let's do it. And that game was so much fun for the little amount of activity you do in the game. Like, it's very much just a point A to point B, like, objective. So you just pick things up, sell them, call it a day.
Bro, to be honest with you, I didn't even know the game existed till like people told me about it, like on like release date. And I didn't even know what to expect. All I know was just like some horror game where like shit actually like follows you and chases you. And that's the type of game I've been waiting for a long time. I didn't even know the devs. I didn't know who they were. It was honestly a purchase of peer
Seekers.
pressure. It was a purchase of peer pressure.
Yeah,
Not gonna
for
lie.
real. Honestly, it was. And I had no intentions of getting the game. Honestly, I didn't even think it was a horror game either because it looked a little too goofy for me, right? I was just like, I mean, if it's a horror game, I don't see anything scary about it. Oh boy, was I wrong. Man, if anyone
I
has
was
played
gonna
the game, if anyone has played the game, you'll never forget your first scare.
I've heard you scream like a little girl in that game when the spiders come out to play. So you've been proven
Oh my
wrong.
God.
And you know what's really good? They're so open. Like the devs are so open to other creators like coming into the game. They even allowed like mod packs for like
Right
like,
away.
in provision. Yeah, exactly. And you can tell how much scarier the game got the more that people have like created mod packs for it. And the devs are actually taking into consideration of making that part of the game. Like, have you ever heard of the Mimic? Like that's an actual thing. Like
How'd I know?
yeah. So like the Mimic essentially takes like your other peers' voices, and AI generates that into the game and like deceives you and makes you follow the monster. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I don't get scared. You know what? No, I'm lying right now. I do get scared a lot.
I
But
was gonna call you on it. Yeah.
Sorry. I get scared a lot. But honestly, I did almost shit my pants when I heard you, Z, talking and it wasn't you. And I did not know that. I did not know that was a thing. Nobody told me about that. They just say, hey, download this mod pack.
No.
Yeah, they told me,
Yeah.
download this mod pack. That's it. Yeah, I cried a little bit.
Like a lamb to the slaughter. Well, and especially because in that game, so much of the game is navigational. So you're having to go through this labyrinth of tunnels and weird rooms and stairs. And I don't know about you guys, I get lost. I get so lost. And a lot of
know.
times how you orient yourself. Yeah, I know you
No,
know.
we know.
We all know, okay? It's it's not
You
my
can
strong
catch her
suit.
on twitch.tv/VenusThunderFist. You'll know. But anyways.
You'll know.
It's public knowledge, but that's how you orient yourself. That's how I do it. I yell out. I'm like, "Guys, where are you?" And I listen and I follow the sounds of your voices. So this mimic mod is amazing because for players like me, we are we are screwed.
You know what the best part about that was? And like the first couple weeks that we were getting used to that mimic is like it just stares at you at first and just like walks towards you, right? So we started like actually mimicking the mimic and scaring our teammates by just like standing and staring at them.
You
And everyone's like, "Is that you? Is that you?"
You don't talk. You're an asshole.
Amazing.
They Lethal Company with the mods as well. They brought something that a lot of games don't, and it's the capability of playing in big groups. And so they made the big mod where, like, instead of just playing with 4 people, which was the limitation to just the initial game itself, but they allowed up to 16, I think 16, right? 16 people in a lobby. Is there more?
Yeah.
Don't talk. There's more.
There's one that's 50, but it's not very they've said it,
wow.
the makers themselves say it's not very stable at full capacity. They recommend, I forget where exactly, but like 30, 40. They don't recommend maxing it out. But yes,
Even
there's
then,
one
that's a
that's
little
bigger
too
than
much.
16.
No, bro,
That is a little,
imagine the
but imagine,
capability. Imagine the
Mhm.
you could be so
capability.
organized. You could get
Yeah.
so much loot if you were
There's
organized.
there's a lot of games now that still are coming out with like 4-player co-op or 4-player multiplayer or whatever, but like these games like or like these developers need to understand that like now, especially these big trendy games, like now you want to have bigger groups. Now you want to have like
Right.
these 10 plus size groups where you can all just vibe and just like have the time of your lives instead of just 4. While 4 is fun, you know, everyone wants to get in on it when it's trendy. So the fact that there was even a mod to like get 8 plus people in one lobby is just amazing.
Lethal Company, bro, set a standard for future games. As much as that game, like how small that game is, you got to think of like developers today. Like, why couldn't they make games like this?
Well, and
Yep.
it's interesting. So it's sold, I think 10 million
More than 10
copies
million
last time I
copies.
checked.
Yes.
Yeah, more than 10 million
Yep.
copies, which is a huge amount. To put that in perspective, some AAA games from last year, such as like Diablo 4, 628,000 copies total as of like today. So if you compare that with over 10 million copies, right? Like but imagine how much more time and how many years, like how big the team must have been for Diablo 4. I think it really speaks to, it doesn't really matter how much money you pump into a game if you're not trying to make a game that people want to play. And I
And
think that's why Lethal Company is successful.
And let me continue with that because that game, Diablo, came out as such a money grab, like 70 plus bucks, and then on top of that, all the really good cosmetics you had to buy
Mm-hmm.
with actual money. Like there used to be a time where I mean, I don't think we'll ever go back to it where you can get really like the best cosmetic would be like past endgame. Like you had to go through these crazy obstacles just to get to that point, right? Like what was it? I think it was Halo 3 with that samurai armor.
Yeah, so the Hayabusa armor, there was events that you had to attend to get like the flame helmet, like things like that. Yeah, that I understand. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's
Yep.
stuff like that, right? And you didn't have to pay for it. You just had to be there. You just had to like
You
put in the
had to
time.
earn it.
It was
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was involvement in some form of the community or the game itself. Yes,
right.
100%. Oh my god, dude,
And
what days?
and like the fact that Lethal Company was able to do this, I mean, I tried looking it up and I couldn't find it. There's an unknown budget for the game, but just about everyone's guess is around 1 million, if not 2, for the budget of the game.
Jeez.
And this is and I'm going through like Steam charts specifically through this, and all-time players in December was 240,000 plus. It made over $110 million by January. By January.
Mm.
That's what, 2.5 months? That's wild. That's that's crazy for a small game like that.
And you think about it
And
now, the devs have so much capability of creating a second version, like a franchise for it. And I got you, Lethal Corporation. I already named the title. Just remember that. Anyways, dude, it baffles me. I felt, honestly, I felt like I was playing a game from back then. Not gonna lie.
You know, that's what's so interesting to me about the art style of Lethal Company. When I first looked at it, I had like a similar reaction to UZ, where I was like, this is kind of cool. It doesn't look very scary though, and I don't know, it's very low res. It's very blocky. It looks like PlayStation 2 graphics. And I don't generally find myself wanting to play games like that. But once I was actually playing it, once you're immersed in it, you're in an adventure with your friends, that brings
yeah,
you back. That art style pairs with that feeling perfectly. And suddenly I'm in middle school again on my PlayStation 2 having the time of my life with my friends. Like it transports you. I love
I
that
love it.
about it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like I'm also essentially comparing the game to Modern Warfare 3, which came out around the same time. And that game had a budget of over 300 million, right?
Jeez.
Wow.
Now, its
Jeez.
all-time player in December, just December, was 190,000, around there.
Wow.
The fact that in December, Lethal Company was able to get over 50K people compared to that, but this is just through Steam, so, I'm not comparing it to, like, PlayStation or Xbox players or anything
Right.
like that. This is just strictly Steam. But the game, it just, like, Modern Warfare 3 was just bad in general. They're like the reviews alone, nobody liked it. Not for the most part, nobody liked it. Like it's just another cash grab, just like Diablo was. It's another cash grab. I mean, what are the odds these two games coming from Blizzard Activision, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you
So
can feel how soulless those games are, like, when you play them. You feel like every time you turn around, you're having to pull out your wallet for something, and, like, how is that a fun gaming experience for anybody? I mean, unless you've just got money like that and it doesn't bother you, and more power to you if that's the case, but for me, that's stressful. No, like, I just wanna enjoy the game, and those I feel like the bigger they get, the more they're just all about the money.
yeah, it's crazy good. I love that Lethal Company just set the
You know
standard
what was
for.
really impressive for me? That they were able to make it like, even though like how you mentioned, it was low res and very blocky, they were able to modernize it to with objectives that potentially could be what people try to solve today. Like and they paired it with like aliens and space travel. And I personally would love to see this game evolve. That's what like I said, Lethal Corporation, that's your next series. Um I don't know. I
I
give
think it's here to stay. I
Lethal 10
mean,
out of 10.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at Among Us. Like Among Us came out a few, what was it, a couple years before COVID happened, and then
Mhm.
it just skyrocketed around
Mhm.
that time. And it's still around with a pretty decent player base. You can easily find a game if you wanted to. And there's still a lot of people that are willing to just like create a huge lobby with friends, because it's just such a fun, I guess, mini game per se, right? And so seeing something like Among Us still be able to thrive in some sort of way, I believe that Lethal Company is going to be able to do the same, especially with the fact that it's just it's just fun. It's something that's missing in the gaming community, and
Long-term
it's just
fun.
purely fun.
Long-term fun.
Yeah.
Long term, because there's a difference. There's a difference that a lot of games can't do. Like there, so for example, like Diablo starting off on launch, I was stuck on that stuff for Diablo 4. It was fun, but long term wise, it did not keep me. Lethal, I still play it today. I still play it till this day, and I enjoy it, regardless if I'm doing the same shit over and over again.
'Cause it is different every time, either because of the friends you're playing with or because the area is different, you're running into different monsters, like, It's always going to be a different experience.
Speaking of though, guys, something that you mentioned, Z, something skyrocketing. Y'all heard of Pal World?
Oh boy, yes. Pal
You mean
World. Oh,
Pokemon with guns?
It's not okay. That is an argument. So no, Pal World isn't Pokemon. Pokemon is Pal World.
Ooh,
Pal
spicy
World is
take.
homies with guns.
I'm telling you, it is
Homies with guns.
different. I will defend Pal World. I love Pokemon. I was on Pokemon till day one, technically till day 1996 when they released that shit over here. But so I am so upset with Nintendo right now.
Ooh,
I am
they're
very
in the
upset.
hot seat.
Very upset with Nintendo right now. You know why? Because they weren't able to give me something that Pal World did. But you guys, I
And
want to
they've
know your
had
thoughts.
they've had all the time and money in the world to do that, to make a game that's as enthralling as Pal World is. They, for whatever reason, have chosen not to make that kind of game. Even if there wasn't guns. Let's just say maybe that is something that they wouldn't, as a brand, want to be associated with. I could see that. Even still, they have never put out a game that feels like Pal World, where it's immersive and fun, and you're getting to, I don't know, I can't put my finger on it. Z, help me out here.
It's okay. This is coming from a guy that absolutely has no interest in survival games. I have I have seen all these different survival games come and go where like not even go, like people still play them. I mean, we're talking, Conan Exiles, Havoc was going through that thing for a good minute. I think Venus was with them doing that too.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but it's just I look at these survival games and I'm not interested because they're early release. They're always going to be unfinished. There's never going to be a time where it's going to be like an actual finished product, no matter what the promises are. I mean, we're looking at. I'm going to compare it to Star Citizen. I mean, Star Citizen is this vast um survival game, open, like just not even open world, more like open universe. They're trying to like set a gigantic precedent on how open and how sandboxy a game can be, and it's unfinished. It's been crowdfunded for at least 10 years, I'm assuming.
Oh my
And they're
god.
not
Mhm.
done. And
That's crazy.
then we have this small company, right? And I was reading an article. According to Joshua Robertson from thegamer.com, they had a budget of 6.75 million by the time it was released in early access. And the CEO, Takuro Mizobi, wanted to develop the game without worrying about the budget, instead choosing to keep working until the bank account reached zero. But the fact that they were able to accomplish this in early access, under $7 million, and the game running as smoothly as it does with such a gigantic player base, like those stats aside, the game is fun. The game is just it's this is me getting away from all the hardcore shooters that I like to play, or and I'm always like sweating and just like hating my life and this and that. But you jump onto Pal World
And it's
and
smooth brain.
yeah,
This
Smooth
man's
brain
catching
only.
you
Digimon.
find, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You find this pretty bird, you find this like goofy looking alligator that wants to, fuck you,
You
it's
just get happy about it.
yeah, it's crazy. It's just like, damn, like what is this game? This is kind of fun. It's kind of like wacky. Um, it's it's really good. I love it.
They hit a lot of points though. Like you got to think about it. When they brought a lot of games together, a lot of people say that this is Pokemon. 100% not. 100% not. I mean, you got Ark survival aspects in there. Yeah, the what's it called? The fact that you can capture people, the thralls. Essentially, you got Conan Exiles
Yes.
and what's another one? Some of the music that's in there gives you like nostalgic vibes from Zelda. Like there's so many points that they brought in together. They literally made the perfect game. And here I am waiting for Nintendo, shit you not, of 2024 since January, a $92 billion company right?
That part.
To just
That part
give
right
me
there.
what I want and you won't do it. Instead, you gave me what? A half-assed game, Violet and Scarlet, that barely worked. And
I've only heard disappointment
there
about
were
that game.
Nintendo fans that were trying to say, "Oh, we grew up in 8-bit version. It's okay. I mean, I'll stick around with it." You shut your mouth, man. Like we are in today. Like I want graphics. I want you to turn what my childhood had into something that is today.
Bring it to life.
Exactly.
We have the technology. We have the technology.
I don't know.
And you have all the money. You have
Yeah,
$52 billion.
literally.
I say it's on them. It's on them. They're getting what they deserve in the sense that they could have made a better game and they didn't. And so someone stepped in and they did. And I find it really interesting the controversy like surrounding Pal World. Like there's word out now that Nintendo has made a statement and said that they are looking into taking action of a legal sort, but they have not been specific about what that is. And I can't find any more information about it. So who knows? Maybe that's a bluff. Maybe nothing is going to happen. But I don't think they have a leg to stand on. I think if they were to try to make this a legal battle with Pal World, with the Pal World developers, with Pocket Pair, I don't think I don't think it's going to get anywhere because it is distinctly the way you're describing its own game, its own concept. Just because you can put these like two creatures side by side and say they look
Alike.
similar style.
Yeah. Nah.
So we're going to do that with all forms of art now. We're going to put two things of a genre next to each other and say, no, they're exactly the same and proprietary even. No, I don't think so. I think that is the bitter response of a company that's mad that they didn't get to do it.
100%.
Even though they could have. No one was stopping
Lazy.
it. They were lazy. Say it. That's right.
Absolutely. They had no competition. So everybody saw throughout the years, if you guys are giant fans of animation back then, I mean, who was Pokemon's last competition? Digimon?
Digimon. Yeah. And they beat Digimon,
that
unfortunately.
fell off. They made, like, half of you probably don't even know that there's a game called Digimon Cyber Sleuth. Like that, by the way, I don't even know if I pronounced that right, but that was an absolutely
Digital
great
monsters.
game. It was a great game. Just letting you know. You can buy that on PlayStation or Xbox. And PC right now available on Steam. But did you guys hear about that game? Digimon Cyber Sleuth? You guys even know about that? No, right?
No.
Right? Digimon had terrible marketing. They started off really great, right? They started off really great. And then all of a sudden it went from downhill from there. I don't know why. And that was Pokemon's biggest competitor. Now who is it?
They got complacent.
Oh, they
got complacent.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. They got complacent, lazy, cocky. Honestly, they got cocky. They thought they can do this shit forever.
And naturally, what happens when it stays that way for too long is an innovator comes along and is going to blow the feet out from under you. And that's sort of what, is interesting about Pocket Pair. And this kind of is a nod to what you were talking about, Z, with how they looked at budget and how they were just like, doesn't matter, run it to zero. We're making the game that we're setting out to make. They have that innovative attitude. They're not afraid to push for what it needs to be. It's interesting. So I don't know, another kind of like controversial aspect to Pal World. Have you guys heard like these rumors that the Pals are AI generated?
I've heard
No.
I've heard something about that. There was even a saying that they used like what was it called? Poke generator. I don't know if you've ever heard about that. So before you go on to that, I just to give you some context, there's a website where you can like combine like two Pokemon together and it makes like different forms of that monster now. And there were rumors about that. Now I don't even think that's true anymore. Who needs like to base it off Pokemon when you have AI?
AI.
Yeah,
exactly.
Just me.
That Poke generator sounds basically like breeding in Pal World, which is interesting.
Did you have?
So it's a breeder.
Yeah,
just say it's.
Did you
just
have
say
something
that.
like any proof of like AI generation or?
So I was really curious if this was true or not. So I dug around, and so as it turns out, as far as we know, the official word is that no, these PALs are not AI generated. They are designed by Pocket Pair, by the development company. However, there was a tweet, and if we could throw it up on the screen here, for those of you who are listening and not able to see this, there will be a video up on YouTube next week. But I'll tell you what this tweet says. This is a tweet by the CEO of Pocket Pair, and he says, "The AI has evolved so much that I can no longer tell which one is a Pokemon." And there's two images in the tweet, left and right. And on the left, there are Pokemon, quote unquote, that are generated by AI. And then on the right, there's real Pokemon. And so you can sort of see these two images side by side. And I don't know about you guys, but when I look at this image and I look at the bottom, I cannot discern. I would not be able to tell you if you covered up the top and said, pick which side is AI. I would probably have picked wrong. They look the same to me. Like, not the same creatures, obviously, but they look like they were made by the same source.
Too bad, Pokemon. That already has copyright. You can't use that for Gen 12. I'm just saying. So get your shit together. No, it's absolute. No, you're right. I mean, I can't even. Z, can you tell the difference between?
No, I can't. They both look like they could have been in the same generation of Pokemon.
I don't know.
Right, exactly. So I think what this tweet was intended to be was sort of like a point about how far AI is coming, and then also maybe kind of a point about Pokemon being maybe more of a style rather than a singular proprietary concept, or at least the possibility of a genre as such. I think that was really the intention of that tweet. But people, I think, saw this and they thought, oh, well, all the PALs are AI generated. So as far as we know, that is not true. But another very interesting angle of this whole PAL world situation.
There was some, so, and correct me for anybody that may of this information, but there was like some leaks that I saw that could have Pokemon in trouble. And so essentially I saw that they were bringing back like the Let's Go series. You guys remember that? So it was called Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. And essentially it wasn't the traditional Pokemon game that you were able to play like how it was back then, like blue, red, yellow, fire red, etc. It was Pokemon Pokemon Go in console, where you would like flick your switch, or you touch the pad or whatever, and it kind of like catches the Pokemon for you. Have you guys played Pokemon Go? Where like you on your screen where you flick it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the style that they're bringing to console. Like a new generation of it. So they already brought a version called Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. That's the style, but they're now making a new series of that. Versus actually thinking about to make something like Power World. You know what I mean?
They're rehashing the same stuff.
Exactly. And you know what? That's going to put them in trouble because people are looking for what Power World released in Pokemon. Not that shit that I can play on my phone and to sell it to me for another $60+. Now, one of the series that Pokemon has done really well with that started converting to something like Power World was Pokemon Legends series. So the first one was Legends of Arceus. There was a leak saying that there was Legends of Celebi, and those are like legendary Pokemon, well-known Pokemon that have like a historical background of how it affects the universe and exactly. So if you've never played Legends of Arceus before, it's more like it feels like a survival game. Pokemon can attack you, not like your traditional Pokemon games where it's just turn-based. If your Pokemon fled or die, then you're back to the Pokemon Center. No, if your Pokemon die, you could now get attacked by a Pokemon. And so that concept alone was huge for Pokemon. And they brought that before their new releases, Violet and Scarlet. So there's a new leak coming out, but it's not the same as Power World. Power World set a vision of what we should expect in the future. And right now, so for Pokemon to potentially release new games throughout this year and next year and not have the ability to release a game until what, 2 years from now? You know, I mean, like, where's Power World gonna be? Power
Right.
World 2. Power
Or
World.
just like maybe even full release Power World. Because
Exactly.
it's still in early access. And the fact that it's in early access and making these waves just testament to what people want in a video game.
And even like, so for DLC, like their marketing strategy was so great for early access and releasing just like what they had so far that I'm willing to buy DLC now. They delivered. They delivered.
Yeah, that's not easy to do in this
No.
day and age. Like, you gotta really sell me to get me to buy DLC, because there is so much DLC on everything. I
Right.
am not a millionaire. I cannot buy all the DLC that I want.
Nope.
So I am used to just, nope, no DLC. Nope, no DLC. Every once in a blue moon, I might be willing to do it, but the game has to be worth it. Power World is worth it.
Speaking to what you just said, they made the game so economical. They didn't sell it to us for $60.
Yep.
Thank
The
you.
fact-
$30, bro.
And then not just that. The first week that it was out, if not weekend, they had it on sale for $26.
Yep.
And imagine that, like right away, day one release, just having it on sale.
And here's
And
Pokemon
on top of that,
fucking giving me
right.
$60 half-ass game.
And their Twitch account ended up posting on January 24th, they have sold 8 million copies, and that would translate to 240 million.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
You go,
This
pal.
game.
You go, Pocket Bear. Oh, yes.
You are the ITG IRL. Oh my God, Power World, go off. You know what? Good for them. Good for them. They deserve it.
You know
They
what?
deserve
They
it.
earned
It's
it.
sad, bro, but it's just like Pokemon, unless they get their shit together, they turn it around. I know that they made a new series and they're supposed to be like better animation for their new TV series. But if they don't get their like style to and modernize it where it's a bit of a change, not take away the nostalgia of Pokemon, but like convert it, evolve it, if you will, to something where it's new and modernized, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like Pocket Pair definitely has a strong chance of.
Okay, but picture this. Power World in VR. No?
No.
You don't want to
They're already
ride a
perfecting-
giant
stop.
whale serpent?
Yeah.
No. They're perfecting what?
I want them to perfect what they currently have and make a series out of it. Don't jump to other projects.
I'm jumping.
there's-
No,
there's
stop
I want it
jumping.
I would agree if it was like one of their marketing strategies, or not even marketing strategies, one of like the focuses on the game, if it was like, not saying that it's not visually pleasing, but if it was like visually pleasing, like for example, I'm going to use No Man's Sky. That game
Okay.
as an open world that's visually pleasing. It's not exactly the most amazing game ever. It's
Yeah.
not the best graphics, the best design, anything, but it definitely is visually pleasing.
Yep.
And that's what I feel like I'd be okay with if Pal World had that, for them to do VR, but they're not. So I mean, not to say that it's not visually pleasing either, because the game looks fucking awesome. The game is really nice for the type of animation that they have for it. It is really nice, and the fact that there is a customer base for it is amazing, because I've always liked that kind of animation where it's like kind of cartoony, kind of like Breath of the Wild
Mhm.
type of animation, right? And I feel like there's not enough games for it. So I'm glad that like they stuck with that animation. But no, as far as VR, I wouldn't expect them or want them to do that. Like stick with what they know right now and just do that.
I got a question for you both before if we move on to the next one. Is Power World a true competitor now to Pokemon?
Absolutely. Hands down. Absolutely it is. It may not have the established history of brand the way that Pokemon does, but too bad. They stepped up to the plate. and they're doing it right. So
You
now
know
they're
what's
they're a competitor.
you know what's crazy? Maybe like a week ago, I would have agreed with you, but this was actually during one of your streams, Colony. You had someone in your chat talking about how they think it's going to be dead soon because there were he was comparing it to like all these other early release games. I'm blanking on it, but it was kind of like a Skyrim meets dungeon crawling. Do you remember what game that was
Mm-mm,
called?
no.
But it was very early release, and it was just a bunch of things like mashed together from the Unreal Engine, and it was, you know, you choose like your wizard or your archer or whatever, and you go through this dungeon and try to like survive I guess it's kind of like a battle royale. You kind of like try to survive the circle. Um, but there's also AI in there. And it was like pretty difficult game. But anyways, that game made rounds. That game was very trendy for a good minute and then it just completely died off. No one talked about it. I wish I could remember the name of the game, but you know, he was talking about it in your chat and you know, it got me thinking. I'm like, okay, so I would have agreed a week ago, but now I'm kind of just like, you know what? While I do really love where this game is at right now, I want to see where it stands a year from now. I wanna see if it
Touche.
actually stands. I wanna see if they actually do make their promises that they've been telling us they would. You know, their roadmap. They set up a roadmap a week or so after, the game came out. So, let's see if they stick with their promises, or are they going to be like every other, company that just wants to make their quick, trendy, you know, 100,000,000, 200,000,000, and then call it a day and never come back and make another game again, you know? I wanna see that first. So, I would love to say, um, that it's gonna stick around, but we'll see.
So mine my decision was based off of this. So I don't care how much a company is established, from what you stated, Venus. I care about who can deliver.
Mm.
That's my concern right now. Um, However, there is going to be a point where we need to wait and see what Power World delivers next. My choice will be right now, no, at this current moment. As much as I love Power World, and I am more on Power World side, on Pocket Pair side, than Pokemon side right
You
now.
are. You are.
And the reason why I'm saying no is because I need to see what they put out next. If they can deliver DLC where there's more mons, uh, more maps, maybe the maps conjointed together, and you can like travel through from map to map. What is their next step, right? And their Pokemon offers a lot of things. Like they're more expanded than just a video game. I mean, they're TV
Mhm.
animation. They got TCG.
They started off as trading
Yeah,
cards.
trading card games. Merchandising from plushes, and I mean they have so much,
TV
right?
shows.
And it's good and all that they've established themselves that way to make themselves, you know, at a higher standing for other competitors, to make it harder for them to reach. But Pokemon hasn't delivered in such a long time, probably since, well, let me take that statement back. Arceus was really well done. So Legends of Arceus, but like their next game was like not that great, in my opinion. There were so many flaws to it. Is that how you're going to deliver to your customers that you know that are willing to pay full price for your products? So depending on Power World's next move will determine if they are a competitor to Pokemon or not. They've already they have their establishment down, but that's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at, what are you giving me next? Are you going to tie me into it? And are you gonna phase me away from your competitor, which is Pokemon?
Personally, I still think they're in the foundation phase. It's not a finished foundation yet.
No, not at all. And that's where I say it's got to be on what they deliver, 100%.
Agreed.
So,
Yep.
um,
But on that, you know, that game, let's go to this next topic real quick. Just because there's a
They
lot of talk
thought
about it.
they thought they were gonna deliver. They thought.
Yeah, exactly,
Did
exactly.
Spider-Man really need that award over Baldur's Gate?
Oh man. Yeah.
Mm.
Game of the year. Imagine.
Everybody,
You know,
I want Venus to take this one over because she's
so I've been dying to actually. And you know what I've been thinking about while we've been talking is that we've been talking a lot about how price points play such a big role in how some of these bigger companies are wanting $60 for games that are not that great. And then, Lethal Company, Power World, these really passion driven games are what is Lethal Company $9 normally. Power World came out and was immediately on sale. We were talking about how much that matters. And I couldn't help but think to myself how that's a little ironic because there's like exceptions to that though. Baldur's Gate 3, in my opinion, is an exception to that. It is priced higher than Lethal or Pal World. It is priced like a AAA game. But I think that was the only time in the past 5 to 10 years of gaming that I wasn't salty about paying that $60. I played Baldur's Gate 3 for so many hours, just riveted, that take my money, Larian Studios. You deserve it. The amount of detail in that game is mind blowing. It's a game that is actually worth that $60 price point, which I think is why it's so worthy of its game of the year title.
And here's the thing, because we kind of like accidentally went on this, I guess journey of early access because Lethal Company is early access. It's probably gonna stay that way. I'm gonna be honest. It's probably gonna stay that way. Pal World early access. We want it to be full release. Baldur's Gate 3 started early access and was like it for what I think 2 years, maybe 3 years, something like that. And you were only able to play a certain amount of chapters on the early release
Mhm.
until the full release that came out last year. And that full release, and it took everyone by storm. It was it delivered and then some. It was a game where you can create your own story and your own character, and it will be different compared to everyone
Yep.
else's. I'm sure there's going to be some exceptions where whoever that flame mommy was that everyone was trying to bone, uh, you know,
Nice nickname.
Carlac,
Nice nickname.
you leave my flame mommy
Oh
alone.
my
All right.
god.
She'll kick your
no,
ass.
but like, yeah. Aside from that, you have so many different choices, so many different paths to go about as your character. Even before you start your journey, you have these different types of characters that you can create. You can kind of go in depth with them too, like different, like jaw structure and such, and you can just create what you want. You can build on it, and you can have the journey you didn't expect you would ever have in a game for longer than 30 hours, for longer than 10 hours, how some games have their story modes, which is, there's nothing wrong if a game has 10 hours in their story, but these guys over delivered on how long this game would take.
Mhm.
There are I think what the average would be like 90 hours, 100 hours just to beat the game for some people,
Mhm,
or like
yeah.
for average in general, I mean. So I mean, that's over delivering in and of itself. You don't know what you're going to go through for those like 50 plus hours, 100 plus hours. And then on top of that, once you know what you've been through, you're just like, oh, let me make this other character that I like might have originally thought about,
Exactly.
and let's see what
Yes.
else I can do
Yes.
here. This
The amount of
game,
multiple characters in my Baldur's Gate 3s.
You're terrible. Did you finish at least one of them? Like,
I did, but
okay.
my favorite was probably a Dark Urge character. I don't know if you guys played one of those at all.
Mm-mm.
no,
No? It's an evil character. You get to make
love it.
all of the most there are choices you get as that character because it's like a trait you choose in character
Yes.
customization. You get options in that playthrough that you don't see in any of the other any other playthrough. I had the option when Gale stuck his hand through the portal in the very beginning I had the option to just like
You're
cut his hand off.
spoiling.
Oh,
You're spoiling.
I am so
She's a
sorry.
spoiler.
I'm
She is
the
a
spoiler. I'm so
spoiler,
sorry.
everyone. Oh my
Okay,
god.
it's been out for
She's
months.
excited. She
I'm
wants to be a
sorry.
baddie.
It was, it was evil. It was wonderful. It was amazing. But sorry for the spoilers. But also, you can be whatever you want to be. Anything at all.
She feels bad now, bro. I can see it in her eyes.
Yeah,
I did
like
feel bad.
the game deserves the game of the year and then some, as opposed to Spider-Man, which, don't get me wrong, to an extent it's a really good game. I
Too
played
many,
the first
dude, there
one.
would be so many people that would fight you right now.
Oh, I'm sure.
So many
I'm sure.
people.
Here's the thing though, like, I don't know about you guys, but I've had my fill of Arkham style freeform fighting
Yeah,
after
100%.
100%ing those games. And Shadow of Mordor, another one that had that same gameplay style. It's just like it's a little too
Linear.
linear, a little too I guess, yeah, linear for me. It doesn't give me that itch to want to, like, oh, let me take out like a bunch of these guys. Like,
Baldur's
you
Gate
got to
3
get
was
to.
genuinely like plot twisty. Like you might get into a little grind mode and maybe it starts to feel a little bit linear, but there's going to be a plot twist. There's going to be a betrayal. There's going to be something that makes you go, "Wait, what the fuck?" And then you're snapped out of like this, haze that you were falling into. And like more linear games like Spider-Man they're not going to give me that. I'm not going to be like on the ground like, "What?"
My decision for like between the two, it was really hard because the games are so different. Like
Yeah.
so the
Yeah.
decision of people are like stating, how did Baldur's Gate 3 win over Spider-Man? So like that was hard for me to like think about first. I'm like, all right, hold on. They're two separate games. Like you can't
Apples and oranges.
compare the two together. So like at this point, it's just going to be revolved around
Straight up opinion.
at that point. Yeah, exactly. And player count. There's
Mhm.
more there's more to do on Baldur's than there is on Spider-Man. Sure, you can try to go be like that 100% achiever trying to get all the achievements on but like, is there really anything to do right after you beat the story?
On top of that, let's talk about 100%ing a game like Spider-Man. All the side quests that are insanely repetitive, all of the collectibles, you get to the collectible and you're just like, "Oh, neat. There's the Avengers Tower. All right, what's the next collectible? All right, what's the next one?" And then you finish it, you 100% it, and while that's like a ride of a lifetime for some people, that's not for me. I mean, the amount of hours that you could put into Spider-Man to be able to 100% it, you probably will just be finishing your first playthrough on Baldur's Gate 3.
Yep. And you know what? I don't mean to be that guy, but I'm gonna be that guy. It kind of like pissed me off that people thought Spider-Man would win against Baldur's. Like,
Yeah.
I laughed. I thought that was like people trolling. I didn't even think
no, it was real.
but I kept reading. I know.
Oh, it
I
was
was like,
real.
no, this
It
is
was
real.
more real than the Super Bowl. That shit was real.
I mean, I guess these are just like diehard Spider-Man fans. I get it. I when it's your thing, it's your thing. But objectively speaking, it was not a better game than Baldur's Gate 3 just by sheer content alone and the quality of that content. Like you're saying, like you finish your first 100% playthrough of Spider-Man, that's like completely different from the amount of hours you can put into Baldur's Gate 3 when yes, you could finish the story. That doesn't mean you've completed the entire game, like seen everything, so to speak, right? You can start up a new character, make every different choice possible, a different party, go to different areas and different orders, and you will have a different experience. You will see and learn and hear things and be able to do things that you couldn't do on your last playthrough. That's all different content. That's a different experience. You can't do that with a game like Spider-Man. So like how is it even comparable? It's not.
And this is not based off like game genre. Like it can't, like you can't base your opinion off like this award for game of the year. It's got to be off content. And that's where I saw, like, that's where I agreed with the game of the year award It's like if it's content. At the end of the day, it's just gonna be about the content. It's not how aesthetically pleasing it is. It's not gonna be about,
We
storyline
can't do
length.
story.
No,
Yeah,
it's
we can't do that
exactly
because at the same time, even if I were to shit on Spider-Man's story, then I start instantly thinking about God of War because that's a more linear storyline and it's
Mhm.
incredible. It's an incredible ride for the decent amount of hours you can put into the game as opposed to Baldur's Gate. So I'm not gonna shit on the storyline for it. But yeah, it's straight up content.
It
Like there's just so much more to do.
I don't know. There was a lot of haters out there. I thought, like you said, I thought it was trolls at first, but man, I saw people get
They
like
were
they
mad.
hurt their own PS5s. Some people threw their shit. Like that's $499.99. Where do
No.
you have that money to buy another one? On top of
Dude,
that,
for
your
real.
disc is inside, so that's another $59.99. Like,
Yeah.
That's crazy to me that people will do that. Property damage as a shock value tactic is crazy to me. Like, that's nuts. You know
um,
what? You're banned. You're not allowed to own another PS5. You've been banned for abuse.
no, I don't play either both games regularly, but like I'm already triggered. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, and here's the
It's
thing,
crazy.
a lot of people, including myself, live for the PlayStation exclusives. I mean, you have Spider-Man, you have God of War. I mean, now those exclusives are starting to like, go into Steam and get
Mhm.
ported on there. But I can feel for those people that just like, "Oh, I love PlayStation specifically because of their exclusives." And I'm not gonna lie, that's me. That is me because
You're
the
that
only
guy.
reason the only reason I stuck around Xbox for so long was because strictly because of Gears of War. And now
Mm,
that Gears of War was able to be part of Steam, I had 0 reason to ever get an Xbox, and that was just my opinion.
Right.
But I have always preferred the exclusives for PlayStation, and, you have God of War, you have Spider-Man, you have Horizon Zero Dawn, you have, a few other games I can't think about right now, but
The Last of Us and The
yeah,
Last of Us
Yeah.
2.
yeah. Um those games, people live for them. So when they see, when they see that their favorite PlayStation game at the time didn't win and it lost to a game on PC, uh, you're just like, what? Y- What? Why didn't it win? But you also got to wonder if those people even gave it a chance.
Right.
How
I don't
many of those people actually tried out Baldur's Gate and then, collectively decided, this game sucks? Because that turn-based stuff is not for everyone.
I'm so glad you mentioned the turn-based thing because I was going to mention I've actually never been able to get into a turn-based combat game. There's been a few of them that I've wanted to be into because I either had friends that were into it or because I genuinely thought it looked like a cool game. But there is just something about my brain that that is the combat style, turn, wait, then it's
Mhm.
my turn, do a thing, then wait. I just can't do it. This was the first time that they made it smooth. They made it, busy. I never feel like I'm just sitting and waiting, and except, when you're playing with friends and you're waiting for them. But
yeah.
that's if anyone's experienced at D&D, that happens whether you're in person at a table with the people or whether you're in Baldur's Gate 3. But point being, they made it snappy. They made it to where I was like, "Oh, okay, like this is turn-based combat, but I don't feel impatient and annoyed and bored. Like I
Mhm.
actually am riveted to like what next thing is about to happen and planning my next moves and looking at my spell book or my actions and can I do this? Can I move that far? Like I'm panicking. I'm so invested.
You
And the
better
fact
get
that they
ready.
did that, yeah, you
You
got to
better
get ready.
get
You got to be
ready.
ready.
No, you know
It's
why?
why?
There's a leak that Pocket Pair may be releasing for PvP turn-based battles. It's a
Interesting.
leak.
I knew
It's
there
not
was gonna
confirmed.
be PvP,
It's not
right,
confirmed.
but oh.
But
I wonder if they've leaked it to test the waters and see what the feedback is, see how people feel about that.
I got excited.
You got excited?
I got so
Yeah?
excited. You know?
I feel like that's even more of, like, a jerking of their chin at Nintendo and at Pokemon to be like, "Yeah, we'll even make this turn-based to so that we can
It's
be even more,
it's
not
them adding
Pokemon, but
Pokemon
doing it
Stadium.
better." Right.
Yeah, imagine that's exactly what they said.
Pal Stadium.
Pal
there was a tweet that went out that I really loved, and I don't know if it came from Pocket Pair or not, because it was taken down, and I have I don't know why it was taken. I can't find the tweet anymore, and I shared it and everything, and it shows unavailable content. So bring that shit back. But the tweet stated, Ash Ketchum isn't the only one that's going to be retiring.
Oh shit!
Imagine that, bro. Imagine
what a statement.
If that came from
That's
Pocket Bear, you are a
wild.
dog, man. Absolute dog.
Oh man.
That's crazy.
You guys got any other games that you want to talk about today?
Nah, that's about it.
All right,
That
guys.
covers it. These are the underdogs, though.
Underdogs, guys, what did you think? Did you guys agree with any of the statements that we said? Do you guys feel different? If so, please let us know in the comment section below. Let us know, because we'd like to know your thoughts. Or if maybe there's another underdog, that we missed. Did we miss one? If we don't know, let us know. We would love to talk about it, figure it out. Guys, I miss y'all. Don't stop talking to me. All right, just on podcast day. I would Venus specifically.
I was gonna ghost you, but I guess
That's cool. I'm just like my dad. Anyway, guys, catch us every Thursday either on YouTube or Spotify for the podcast, as we release an episode once a week. I thank you guys so much for listening, tuning in. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate you guys for watching, and we will see you on the next one. Bye!
Deuces.
I'm waiting